Hi everyone, welcome to Needful Things again. Today I'm going to show you this beautiful stitch. You can use it for so many different things. I can see it, it would be a beautiful sweater, don't you think? I do. So I'm going to show you how to do this stitch today. It's pretty simple. It's just, I think it's a 2-row repeat. So let's get going. I'm going to start it on a different color so you can see. I'm going to use this color so that you can see what we're doing. And we're going to start with a chain. Our multiple is 2 plus 2. So you can, adjust it to whatever you are making. This is going to be a scarf, so I've done this size. So for you, I'm going to just show you how it's done. We're going to make our chain. And it's, like I said, multiples of 2. I'm using a J. Okay. That's just a small chain, so it's like about that big compared to that. So now we're just going to go into that chain right there and do single crochets all the way across. Each stitch gets a single crochet. If you want your foundation row to be a little bit looser and not tight, then you can do it in the back bumps of the stitch. I really can see this as a beautiful sweater. It would make I'm going to make one actually. So we're just going to continue across the row with your single crochets, however wide or whatever you're making yours, using it for. I don't know what the name of this stitch is. It probably does have a name. It's similar to a lot of other stitches that I do and have done. It's really beautiful. The pattern to me kind of looks like diamonds, the way it lays in. So I don't know if it's called that or whatever, diamond stitch. I don't know what it is really. So now I'm in my last single crochet of my row. And the next row, this is actually the front of our piece. So the next row we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3, and then turn your work. That's going to count as a double crochet, so you go into the next stitch and double crochet, and you're just going to double crochet all the way across the second row. Very simple. And we're setting up your foundation. So whatever you are going to be making, you would end it with the same sequence before you sewed your pieces together. Or if you were making a sweater, say, or ending a scarf, on the other end you'd want to end the same way that you started. Just like usually in a pattern, when you start a row one way, you end the other end the same way. If that makes any sense. And that last single crochet gets that last double. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We just did these 2 rows. Okay. So now we're on the front of our work again on the third row. I was trying to see if I could pull that third row out. It's like right here. So we have a chain 3 here. That counts as a double crochet. Okay. So then we want this stitch here. So we'll move into this stitch. Right here would be the second one. And so what we're going to do in there is, you see, we're going to do a front post, sort of a, I don't know what you'd really call it. It's kind of like when you do a puff stitch, but not. So we're going to go into the front of this we're going to do a post stitch here. Go behind the post, pull up a loop, yarn over, go behind the post again, the same post, pull up a loop, go through like that, and then go through like that. And you've made this stitch here. Okay. Now in the next stitch you're going to do a double crochet. And your pattern will start to come together when you get a few rows going. So in the next one we're going to yarn over. We're going to go under that next double crochet on the row below and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all those. Ooh. Yarn over, pull through those two. Yarn over, and the next stitch, do a double crochet. And you just repeat that across. There's our next double below. So we're going to do that post stitch. Yarn over, pull up 2 loops. Yarn over, go through all those loops, leaving 2 on the hook. Yarn over, go through both of those. Yarn over, in the next stitch you'll do a double crochet. And you'll just repeat that down the row. Like so. So I'll continue doing it. And see, we have that row of, that first row will be your, the single crochet row we did in the back. So now this is the second row. And then we get to the end, we'll change and go back to that. So there's 2 row repeat. Yarn over. Here's the next double crochet. Pull up 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through all the loops, leave 2 on the hook, yarn over, pull through those 2, yarn over, in the next stitch, double crochet, and repeat. Ooh, that ball's just rolling around like crazy. Yarn ball gone wild. Excuse me. Okay, so here we'll have our last pull up stitches, 2, pull up your 2 loops, yarn over, go through all the loops, yarn over, you have 2 on the hook, yarn over. And now in our last stitch where we have the 3 chains in that top chain, which would be the 3rd chain, you will, whoops, work a double crochet for your last stitch, because That's how it started. Chain 1, turn your work. We're now on the back side of the work, but here's what we just did. So you can see what we just did. So the 3 chains count as a double crochet. We did a double crochet in the end. Now on the next row, we'll be doing the single crochets from the back. So we've chained 1, turn our work, and the very first stitch, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. So you're single crochet every stitch across your row. And basically this is just, it's pretty in the stitch and what it does, but the dynamic of it, I guess, is what it's doing is getting us back to the front of the pattern, you know, in a very useful way. You know, otherwise you'd have to cut your yarn on every row, which would be terrible for this type thing. So now we're at that chain 3 on that end. So in that top chain, mine got a little tight, we're going to do our last single crochet, chain 3, and turn your work. And that's what it looks like right now. Which you know, this would be a pretty border or a ribbing, or you could even make a belt like that. And that's how you'd finish the other end off, so it would look just like this when you get to the other end, like on a longer piece. So we're going to keep going. So we've chained 3 and turned our work. Now we're on to the row where we're doing our double crochets. So we already have that one there, right? And so our next stitch would be a double crochet. So where are we? I'll show you. Right here, we just did this. So now we're here, and in that second stitch, which is right here, we're going to do a double crochet. And you say, oh, but that looks weird because it's not the same as that, but you'll see how it works out. Okay. So now we're up to the next stitch, which if you look below is that double crochet in the row below. That's where we're going to pull up our loops on that double crochet. 1, 2, we're going to do our front post there and do the same stitch just like that. Then in the next stitch, which is this here, you'll do a double crochet. And then we're up to the next stitch, which is the double crochet in the row below, and it's in between those two puffy stitches. So we're going to do our front post, pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull through all the loops, yarn over, close it off. The next stitch will be a double crochet. So we're doing the same row that we just did when we did these big stitches before. We're just doing them in between the other stitches where the other double crochet was, the one we just did like that. So now we're on the next one, yarn over, go to the double crochet below and do our front post, pull up the loops, 2 of those. Yarn over, pull through all the loops, leaving 2 on the hook, yarn over, pull through those 2. Yarn over, go to the next stitch, work a double crochet, and we'll repeat our stitch in the next double crochet below. 1, 2, pull up the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through all the loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, next stitch gets the double crochet. Very, very simple. So this is a 2-row repeat. This is the second part. The first part is the single crochet. Okay, so we just did the double crochet, so now we're up to pulling our loops on the front post. Yarn over, pull through all the loops. Next stitch is the double crochet. Next stitch is the one in between down here that gets the pull-up stitches. I don't know what to call it because I really don't know what this pattern's called. Someone might tell me. The next one gets the double crochet. Here's our stitch from below, the big stitch where we work the 2 loops. So we just put the double crochet there. So we're moving into this next stitch, which is here. And that gets our 2 loops. Then we have 2 stitches left. This one gets the double, the next stitch. Like we did here, because we have the, the single 3 chains which count as the double, then we did the double. So here on this end we have the double because we just did that stitch and we have 1 stitch left, and we will do another double crochet there. And that is that row, which will always be that way. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're on the back of the work where we'll be doing our single crochet row all the way across. Starting in the very first stitch. However many, stitches you did across for whatever you're making or using the stitch pattern for. I'm doing that scarf. I think it was 22 and I ended up with 21 stitches across. And I didn't even count the sample that I'm showing you. So, just make it the size you need it. It's a very easy stitch to adjust. So I have 2 left. I have the last stitch there, and then I have the 3rd chain from there. I will chain 3 and turn. That counts as the first double crochet. Now we're back to our puffy diamond stitch. I don't know what else to call it. Okay, so we're going to yarn over. And that's the first stitch there, so we don't put anything in there. It's already counting that as the 3 chains. Here would be the next one. And that's the double crochet in the row below where we're going to do our front post pull-ups. And there's 1 and 2. And finish our stitch. And then the next stitch is that stitch below, so we're going to put our double crochet in the next stitch. Then here's the next one. We're going to put it in the double crochet below in the row below. Pull up our 2 loops, our front post. Finish off that stitch. The next stitch gets the double crochet. You know the routine. It's exactly the same as before. It's so weird. I haven't used a J hook like this in so long. I'm really big a fan of Susan Bates. I know some of you are not, but I am. Every once in a while I like to give it a little stretch. Okay. Make sure I did that double crochet up there. One, pull up my second loop. Next stitch gets the double crochet. And then you just continue on like that, and then like you get to the end of this one and you'll finish that off just like you started. You'll have I just did my where am I? And then you'll be chaining one, and you'll turn your work. I'm going to continue on the piece I'm working on since I've got you started there. And I just did a double crochet in that top stitch. Now I'm going to drop down and pick up this other one. One, two. And the next stitch, and you can, if you get confused, you can just look, make sure you're skipping that one stitch, because that really is that stitch. And make sure you're going into the right stitch, because it can look a little weird sometimes, I guess. Because it even though it's not diamonds, it looks like diamonds, you know. I love it. I think it's a beautiful pattern. I mean, I can just see this this is a scarf I'm working on, but I can see it as a sweater, because can't you just see that as a sweater panel? When you're going to. I think I might slip some gray in here. And you can use whatever size hook you want, really. I just thought this would be a better choice for this particular stitch because I wanted it to have a little, you know, I wanted it to be more dimensional. Because you want to see the pattern, you know, you want to see that pretty shape that you're getting. And one reason why, you know, I said you could do the first row in the back loops because it's like it pulls in a little bit, but if you do that, it wouldn't. So you could do that. But I'm going to put some fringe on it, I think. crochet, which is sometimes really hard to get into. Chain 3 and turn. Now back to the front. And that's what I meant when I was telling you earlier about you'll end it the same way. That way it looks the same on both sides when you like end your piece or panel or whatever you're making, blanket, throw, scarf. And that's what it looks like in the back. Not very much to look at. So now I'm back on my front section. It's just such a beautiful stitch, don't you think so? I'm going to keep working on my piece, and I really hope you do enjoy it. It really is beautiful. So until next time, have a great day. Please like, subscribe, watch, and share, and comment. Thank you.